Hey, this is Rick. Strategy is an amazing thing, but in ancient times, you had the maps they were different. When we got now, we got radar systems for our planes. We got sonar for our submarines. Got all kind of technological technology and equipment to find our way around. The maps don't look the same as they did in ancient times. So in ancient times everything was all clustered together, and map making was a highly refined skill. It was also a very closely guarded secret. Now, it wasn't until the compass came along, but they would go along from port to port because they had to deliver their goods. Now everything got started to get spread out as time went along because geographically the earth started to change and it would crack up. Now we got oceans separating our countries. But everything was dated. We got scientists working on how the map makers actually came up with their concept. Patterns on uh, butterflies are being used to work out this, um, how they went about doing this. I don't know the term for that, but it's a very amazing concept. Using the patterns on butterflies to somehow uh, find out how the map makers pinpointed their direction and where they were going. It was a highly refined skill. These were experts in their field and they knew what they were doing. Maybe they were philosophers. I don't know if they were people of science. They were, I guess you could call it a science, but geologic experts, definitely. But like I said, the maps were different back then. Everything was squished together. Then you have different geologic events, earthquakes, uh, um, glacial activity. This is all things that would split the planet apart. But we got more water on our planet than land. Some of our water hasn't even been fully explored yet. I find that amazing. New species are constantly being discovered. Things that have been around millions of years. Everybody had to be in tune with finding direction, though, because the ancient people, not only did you have the map makers, but the ancient people, they would build their structures to align with the stars, spring and solstice and winter solstice, and all their buildings were lined up like that. But yeah, it's an amazing concept. Goes back millions of years. Architectural designing, but I could get into that, but it's a very long story. I'll give you one architectural concept. When the Roman Empire was at their height, the Colosseum in Rome, that was their big attraction. That was their stadium. We got people now that want to form baseball stadiums to the exact specimen specs of the Colosseum, and they're not able to do it. You would think with all the technology we have, they could do it, but for some reason they can't do it. I'm convinced that the main material for those ancient buildings would have to be limestone because limestone is long lasting. Anything else would crumble. You couldn't use regular cement because after so many years it would crack. But the map making now is so sophisticated. We got grids, flight patterns, everything is electronic. Maybe AI too, I don't know. We're just getting started on that. The whole entire internet is a gigantic wire running under the ocean from country to country. It's an amazing thing. Now, people, countries that are poor, they're not going to have internet. But if you're a scientist, you bring your own equipment with you. But we're just getting started on that. There'll be more to talk about when it comes to that kind of stuff. But if we got scientists now that are using patterns off of butterflies to crack the ancient map makers' codes, that'll be amazing. It's like when you cut down a tree and you see tree rings. Tree rings are dates of trees, and when they were, you could trace the dates back to when these things were living and even what the environment was like back in a certain time period. It's really an amazing concept. You got scientists that work on this kind of stuff. I mean, out in San Francisco Harbor right now, they're digging up, they're wanting to build new buildings, and they're digging areas up on the coast, and they're finding ancient ships. Well, not the whole ship, but the parts, planks and stuff, old boards. That's all traced back to the gold rush. San Francisco was the main trading port. And if you abandoned a ship back then, you could claim it as property. Really an amazing concept. Now we got stricter laws now, but California was the main place to go if you were a miner. I guess you could call that whole thing the butterfly effect. If they're using butterfly patterns to crack the ancient map makers' codes, that's pretty impressive. And I'm looking forward to seeing where scientists go with that. And I'm sure a lot of historians are too. Anyways, that would be a to be continued thing because it ain't over yet. Anyways, I'm out of here for now, and I'll see you in the next one.